Are you blaming aging for your health problems? All too often, we use catchphrases to explain away our conditions as being out of our control. For example, as soon as we start consistently feeling symptoms, we chalk it up to aging. Now, as time passes, we certainly will notice changes to our body over time. Someone who is 80 is certainly not going to look and feel like someone who is 8. However, I believe we have taken this aging equals more health problems far too seriously. I'll use myself as an example. At age 30, my health fell off a cliff. Within 6 short months, I went from feeling relatively normal to feeling like I was 80 and at death's door. Using the chronological aging argument, there was absolutely no reason why I should have felt that way. So what happened? 2 words: toxic burden. The high level of toxins that we are dealing with on a daily basis is unprecedented. Never has the level of toxicity been higher, and although our bodies are set up to cleanse and detoxify naturally, they have been compromised in a way that mitigates their natural ability to do just that. While the body requires a wide spectrum of whole food nutrients, we are given it stripped down versions through excessive processing and cooking. While the body has several detoxification pathways to get rid of various toxins, we have overburdened and blocked some of these pathways from doing their job adequately. While we focus about the safe dosages so we don't die instantly, we overlook the lower doses that create the slow kill that creeps up on you, often in the form of chronic disease, that you pass off as part of the aging process. It starts with faulty genetics, which is often a result of contaminated DNA being passed directly on to the fetus. Case in point, as reported by the EWG, and I quote, in a study spearheaded by the EWG in collaboration with Commonweal, researchers at 2 major laboratories found an average of 200 industrial chemicals and pollutants in umbilical cord blood from 10 babies born in August and September of 2004 in U.S. hospitals, end quote. This is proof positive that many babies today are dealing with a significant body burden before they even leave the womb. Then comes the actual birthing process that often results in various drugs and procedures that the unborn child is not immune to and can be affected by. Then comes the toxic injections that always have a toxic byproduct to them, some worse than others. Baby formula may come next, filled with GMO ingredients, sugars, and other non-nourishing ingredients. Then the quick, cooked, often microwaved meals come along that are devoid of any real nutrition, and if conventionally grown, riddled with some level of toxicity. Eventually, this malnourishment leads to doctor visits, like antibiotics, dental appointments, hello, fluoride and mercury, and even prescription drugs, in which birth control is one, all before you even reach adulthood. This is before we even tackle EMFs, polluted drinking water, xenoestrogens, air quality, and personal care products. The list of toxins affecting us is much more than the food you eat, and it's hitting you from every angle, every day. If something isn't required by the body to function, and worse, impairs its function, we could identify that as a toxin. When these toxins enter the body, there's typically a response that attempts to neutralize or otherwise get rid of the toxicity, primarily by the liver. Sometimes this toxicity can be removed, other times it can't, due to general weakness in the immune and detoxification system and/or the nature of the toxin. In the latter case, the toxin then becomes a part of your physiology and undoubtedly disrupts the proper function of that area and those that surround it. As this type of activity continues, and more obnoxious toxins that are hard to get rid of become a permanent part of your physiology, like some heavy metals can, such as mercury, your systems, organs, glands, muscles, tissues, and other things start to backfire and no longer do what they're intended to do. This means they leave the door open for more toxic accumulation and more malfunction until it becomes riddled with disease and works at a fraction of its original capacity. So what happens when your liver becomes compromised? It does an inferior job of eliminating incoming toxins, and the toxic burden rises, leaving you with general malaise, lack of energy, skin conditions, joint and muscle problems, and just feeling older. This leaves the rest of the body open to more toxic infections, biological and man-made, to the point your whole body starts to break down due to the interference the embedded toxicities create. What's worse is as these toxicities mount, your ability to digest and properly utilize nutrients in food starts to deteriorate. Mercury or H. pylori, for example, can weaken stomach acid, a crucial part of the extraction of nutrients and eliminating biological threats. So this toxic burden now starts to create nutrient malnourishment, which is the second major physiological component to the breaking down of the body that we attribute to aging. These nutrient deficiencies handicap various areas of the body and leave them unable to perform their proper functions. So as these areas weaken from a burden of tasks it can't handle, it opens up the door for more disease to infiltrate. If any organ or gland becomes barren, for example, it is a prime opportunity for less desirable agents to creep in, much like weeds do on an improperly cared for lawn. So as this glacial toxic effect slowly makes its way through your body, you are generally none the wiser, until one day the symptoms become alarming enough that you choose to go to a doctor where a disease is often diagnosed out of the blue, but in reality, this disease has been brewing for years and you have likely chalked it up to chronological aging. So in reality, when your body starts to not work as it once did, you are simply dealing with an increasing toxic burden, and as every year passes with no action, it becomes more unapologetic and irritating to your everyday life. So what's the remedy? Eliminating the incoming toxins to cut off the flow into your body and methodically getting rid of those already embedded in your physiology in order to restore a more normal function to your bodily systems and their satellites. You'll be shocked at how quickly you can reverse the hands of time without reversing your chronological age, and you'll realize that aging is not synonymous with pain and misery. As someone who felt like an 80-year-old at age 30 and now feels like a 20-year-old in his mid-40s, I know exactly how this process works and how wonderful it is to not feel your age. Toxic elimination is part of the foundation of the Thrive Lifestyle Academy, and it's part of the reason why it has been so effective at eliminating various chronic diseases, many associated with aging, like arthritis. If you want to become a thriver and don't want to feel like your age, let me know, and I can show you how we do it through the Thrive Lifestyle Academy. Until next time, thrive on.